All right, this is practice exam 4, and in this practice exam there are 2 Excel files that we'll be doing. So make sure that you download both Excel file practice exam 4 budget and practice exam 4 sales, both files. But right now we are on the budget file. And again, like some of the others, we have the list of instructions right here that we'll be going through and that you can also follow along. I would try to do them without following along with the video, just to make sure you're prepared for the exam. So on budget practice exam 4, the budget worksheet, it says inspect the workbook for accessibility issues, insert corrected text as the alternative text for the first object listed in the errors category. So the way we can look at accessibility issues is we go here to File, we go over here to Info, and we do Inspect Workbook and check for accessibility. And it shows right here, missing object description 1. We can do that drop down there. And this is over on the right. And then picture 2 branding. Okay. And it says recommended actions is add a description. And the description that we were asked to add for this, or you were asked, was corrected text. And this is just to show you how to do it. It's not necessarily what you would put in here, but that's what you would do and how you would work on your exam. And now we can go ahead and close that. Step number 2, go back here to budget. It says use the find and select tool to find the cells with conditional formatting. So that's over here in the home button. So make sure we click on the home button. We were in the accessibility button, and now we can just click off on that. And in the home button, we have over here find and select. And we've done a few other things with find and select, but this time it's find and select conditional formatting. And go ahead and click conditional formatting, and we see that cells C, D, and E, C18 to E18, have some conditional formatting. On your exam, it's not going to ask you necessarily to change them, it's going to ask you to find them, and it records your ability to do that. Number 3 is change the theme of the workbook to View and the font to Corbel. And this is in page layout on themes. So we go over here in page layout, and over here we have themes and colors and fonts, and these affect your entire workbook. Not a worksheet, your workbook. So whatever you change here is going to change your entire workbook. So now here, click the drop down on themes, and the themes that we're asked to is to find the view. And so these are usually in alphabetic order. We go down here to view and click on view. And you can see that my instructions, colors have changed, and the view has changed. Now it's preference on what colors you like to use, but this is just an example. The next part of that was change the font to Corbel. And so right here in the themes again, we're in page layout, we have our fonts, and we could just go down and choose Corbel, and we can see that the font and the theme has changed for the entire workbook. So if we were to add a worksheet and any type of text or anything to that, it would default to the theme. Next, it says step 4 is change the view of the budget worksheet so that it's split horizontally. Make sure that it has not been split vertically also. Now remove the split. And to do the split, we just click on here anywhere. We go into the view button. View is up here. And over to the right, we have split. And on our split, we just go ahead and click it. And you can see that it's split both vertically and horizontally, and it wants to be the horizontal one. So we can go here and move it off, and that is our horizontal split. Now it asks you now to remove it. Now remove the split. The easy way to remove the split is put your cursor on it till you get your double arrows, double click, and it removes the split. Again, it won't show up here on this, but the exam is recording what you're doing and making sure that you've done it correctly. Next is select the budget and branding worksheets and save the 2 active worksheets together. So if you remember this before, like when we highlight a column and we'll hit the control button and we'll highlight another column so that both columns are highlighted, we're going to be doing that with the sheet. So we want both sheets to be printed. So right now if I print, it's just printing this sheet. And I want both sheets to be printed. And in this, it says, save the two active worksheets as a PDF file named branding budget. So right here, I'm going to click on budget. I'm going to click the control button and click on branding, and now see that they're both white. So they've both been, they're together now. So I can go up here, file, save as, and in this case, it wants us to save it as a PDF. So scroll down here and find PDF. It's down towards the bottom, and it wants us to change the name of it right here to branding budget, and then save to wherever you would like to save it. Okay. And now we've completed step number 5. Okay. Step number 6 is use autofill to complete the series of months to December. We already have January, February, March, and you can see that it brought up this PDF, and you can see that even though it's on multiple pages, it just wanted to make sure that both sheets were done. Okay. So let me click out of there and go back to our Excel file. And you can see that we have January, February, and March right here. And if I highlight January, February, and March, I can just take this fill and see if I go to the right, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and just fill that in. All right, we have completed the first part of exam number 4 on this budget. If you're in Management 1400, go ahead and save this file by adding your first, last name, then uploading it to the appropriate place once we've done with the next one. If you're here for the MOS 200 training, thank you for joining us on this. And now that's just this part. So go ahead and save this file, pause the video, save the file, then come back. All right, make sure that you've downloaded and go ahead and open the next one. We did budget, so I'll go here to downloads and I'll open up the sales. That's the second part of our thing, is sales, and I'll go ahead and open up. And now we're working on this, and we'll type into January sales right now is the workbook that we're going to be working on right now. So in this one here in our instructions, it says to modify the name range sales to include the headings in the cell range A4 to F4. So if I go ahead and click anywhere on here, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this drop down and I'll click on sales, and you see that this goes from A5 to A14 and does not include my headers. So the easiest way to change that is go here to formulas and name manager, and that brings up our formula right there. And the easiest way to do it is right here. You see I have A5 to F14. Just go right there and go from A5 to A4. Okay, and now hit close. Okay, maybe enter and close. And now you can see if I go up here and choose this sales, that is now it has A4 to F14. Okay. So, all right, now it says format the data in cell range D5 to D14 as Euro, English, Ireland to 2 decimal points and center align. So right here, I'm going to copy this or highlight right here. And when they're asking for this, and it's possible that you will get a question on your exam about this. So we go here to the home page into number formatting. And the best way to do this is to drop down. And we're choosing currency because it's asking us to format it to Euro, English, Ireland. And the Euro is a currency. So we'll click the drop down on the symbol. And we got to scroll down. So it starts with a few others, goes into dollars before it goes into others in euros. And then the one we're trying to find is Euro, English, Ireland. And we click on that one. And it wants us to do 2 decimal points. Okay. And go ahead and click OK. And alignment on this is they want us to center this. So go ahead and click center and click OK. And it aligned it center 2 decimal points. Now our next step in this is sort the data in the sales named range. So this is our sales named range. So we want to sort the data in here, okay, by office ascending. So by office and ascending order. is from A to Z, and descending is from Z to A, or in numerics, ascending is from like 1 to the highest number, and descending is the highest number to the lowest. So go ahead and click on our named range here. Now go ahead and click on data if we're not there, and we want to go to sort, and we want to make sure that my data has headers is sorted. So now we can click and it will show the office, and we click on office, and ascending is A to Z. We're there right now, and click OK. And now you can see that it is Arifacet is up first. Okay. Now it says insert a line graph showing the salesperson and their sales in US dollars. Display a data callout showing only the values and position, the labels above the data points. So we're going to be inserting a graph. After we insert the graph, we're going to add data labels, and then we're going to position the data labels and make sure it only shows values. So by doing this, it wants to know the salesperson. So we're going to highlight the salesperson. We're going to hit the control button, and we're going to do sales in US dollars. And now we'll go here and hit the insert button, and we're doing a line graph. So click on here, and it'll be this line graph right here, and we can move this over here. Now what it's asking us to do is go ahead and display the data callouts, which is displaying the data labels, showing only the values and position of the labels above the data points. So we can go ahead and use this button over here. I prefer adding chart element. So click on adding chart element, and we're going to choose data labels. The reason why is I can click on call out, and then we're going to click on the data labels, and we're going to right click and format data labels down here. And on this, it's asking us to just show the value. So we want to remove the category name, and label position is we want it above. Okay. And now I'll go ahead and click on X right here, and we have completed this one. We have a nice call out on our graph right there. The next one is in cell I4. So come here in I4. Use an appropriate function to count the number of salespersons who have units sold. So here's my units, and we can see right here whether I have who sold and not sold any units. So it's asking us to count the ones sold. And this is just a simple count function. Okay. And I'll click on count, and the values I want are right here. And it's only going to count rows with values. So we have 7 of our salespeople who sold things. Now it says in cell G5, I'm right here in G5 of the sales code column, enter a code consisting of the salesperson's first name together with their home office location. And so what they're asking for is just type in their first name. So enter a code, and we're not really necessarily entering a code. We're going to be using a flash fill in this case. And so what they want us to do is type in John, and then the name of his office right there. And now we can just come down here and click on that, and they want to use a flash fill. Now use flash fill to automatically complete the codes for the other records in the table. So it will recognize that this is a specific function or code, and it can recognize the pattern and then fill down and click on the fill button. If it'll let me click on the fill button and flash fill, and you see it fills in the rest. Okay, the next one is in cell H5, create a formula that will display a custom code based on the first 2 characters of the sales code column. So we have the sales code column here. We want a custom code with the first 2 characters. And if you remember, we've done this in the past. You have left and right. This is going to the far left, the first 2, so it equals left. That's the function we want. The text is right here in G5, comma, and the number of characters is 2, and then we can close this out and click enter and then copy this down. Okay. The last one says create a custom view named My View that displays in the page layout view and has a custom zoom of 135%. So I know we haven't shown this before, but this is saying we want to have a custom zoom of this page when we come to it. So click on the view, because this is what we're doing, view, and we're over here in page layout. We want to click on page layout. So this shows our page layout right here. And we have a zoom to right here. Okay, so we want to zoom this, and we want a custom zoom of 135%. Okay, and we click OK, and now it zooms this to 135%. And we want to name this. So create a custom view name, and right here it's got custom views. Okay, and we're going to do an add. So we want to add. And what's the name we want to add? It says to name that My View. And we just leave it this way with the print settings and everything else and click OK. So now we can go into a My View and see that again. We can click Show at any time and it shows at 135%. All right, we have finished with the January worksheets right now. We'll move into Detailed Sales worksheet. Oh, and we can get out of here by clicking Normal View, and it takes us back to our normal view here in the view. Now over here on the detailed sales worksheet, we're going to do a few things. The first thing we're going to do is name a range. And we're going to name the range from D3 to D2010. So far we've been working with small files. This time it's going to be a large file. And the easiest way to do that when we have these large ones is go up here into the name box. And we're going to just type in D3 colon D2010. And it will show you what you need to do on your exam, and click enter. I want D3 to D2010, enter. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's what we wanted. Yep, because we just want to name this range, the amount paid range, and we want to name it amount paid. So once this is highlighted, go in here and click on our name range or our name box, amount underscore paid, enter. And we can click off anywhere right here, and now click on this and do our amount paid, and you see that it brings in our range. Okay. The next step is in cell I3. So right here, I3. Use an appropriate function to find the average amount paid for all courses. Format the result with no decimal points. And the reason why we just named that range is trying to highlight and going down 2,000 rows. What if our hand leaves our mouse or we doesn't scroll right? So that's why we named the range, and it's asking for the average, so equals average. And what do we want to average? Well, we just did our named range, so I'm going to start typing in amount paid and bring up my range, close it off and click enter. And you see that the average amount is $501, and it asks us for no decimal points. So we can go here to the home, and we can format this in a currency or accounting if we want, and then choose no decimal points by moving this over here. So basically the average amount paid is approximately $502. Now it says insert a hyperlink to the heading in cell A1. So right here in A1, we're going to do this too right here. So in cell A1, insert a hyperlink to the following website, and that's uvu.edu. We're going to use https://uvu.edu, and it says to insert a hyperlink. So right here, just right click on the cell, if it'll let me right click on the cell. Okay. So right click on the cell. If not, I can always click on that and click insert. And we want to insert a hyperlink, which would be over here to the right. There we go. I had to double click that. And we want it to an address. And the address is https uvu.edu. So let me show you how I did that again. Is on the A1, I just clicked on it and it's going to go to UVU. I'll cancel navigation. I came over here and did the insert, and then on link, double click the link, and it brought up that address bar. You go to the address bar. The other way you could do it is you could right click and do insert there also. All right, now it says change the page layout to landscape and set the print area to be A2 to E18. So on this is in our page layout because we want to change it. Right now our orientation is portrait. We're going to change it to landscape. So just choose landscape. The next thing that we want to do, and we don't see, it doesn't change our view, it just changed our print view, is set the print area A2 to E18. So right here we can do A2, E18, and this will be the fastest way to do it on your exam, and click enter because that highlights our area. And then while we're here in page layout, we're just going to set that to set print area. And that's it. If we hop off of there, you can see this faint outline that goes around this, and that's our print area. And if we wanted to, we can also come down here and click that and see that this is our page 1 print area. And we would just come down here to the right to the page break preview, and now I'll go back to normal view. So on that, go back to normal view so we get back to where we were. Now it says put the text management 1400 into the center section of the worksheet footer. Put the page number into the right section of the footer. So right now we're working on adding headers and footers that we can do. So when we print, it prints out on that. So if we're not already there, go into page layout, and then we want to go into page setup inside our page layout area. Oh, right there. And the little drop down right there. I'm looking for a different one page. The drop down right there. We want to go to header footer. And this time we're working on the footer. We need to go to custom footer because we have our left section, our center section, and our right section. So click in the center section. And we just want it to say management 1400. And then in the right section, we want it to be our page numbers. And so if I can hover over here, I can do format text, insert page number, insert number of pages. We're just doing insert page number. And in this case, click OK. And now here in this box, we will see what it would show as the footer management 1400 and the page number. And we go ahead and click OK. If we wanted to see it, we could look at print preview, and we would see that this is the area that we set up to print. And at the bottom would be management 1400 and page 1. And we can go back out of here by clicking the back button on the left. Okay. The next one it says to do is customize the quick access toolbar to include email as an option. So above all of your tabs, this is your quick action. These are some of the things you can do: save, autosave. And this drop down right here, this custom quick access toolbar, click that drop down, and we're just going to click email. And now you can see that I have a quick access to actually email this sheet to somebody. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to merge the contents of cell A1 across the cell range A to E. And then we're going to configure the worksheet so that the top 2 rows are visible while scrolling. So basically, we're going to merge this, these cells A1 through E1. And we're just going to hit home, and it says merge across. So not merge in center, merge across, okay, which keeps the formatting the way it is, and it doesn't center this. So be careful on your exam whether it says merge and center versus merge across. Okay. Then it also says configure the worksheet so that the top 2 rows are visible while scrolling. So if we remember this on freezing pane, it's the rows above the row you freeze or the columns to the left you freeze. So if I wanted to freeze column B, I would have to choose column C and it would freeze this. If I want the first 2 rows, I would have to choose row 3 because it's going to freeze the rows above. So we go ahead and choose those rows, go here into the View tab, go to the right on Freeze Panes. We can click the drop down. And because we're not freezing just the top row or just the first column, we're freezing the top 2. We would click Freeze Panes. And now you see is if we scroll, rows 1 and 2 remain there as we scroll. Okay. Next, it says display all formulas in the worksheet. Okay, and then undo it. So if you want to see the formulas, what formulas are here, we can actually just literally go to the Formulas tab, and there's one here called Display Formulas. And so we go over here to Show Formulas. We want Show Formulas. I just couldn't find it real quick. So there's Show Formulas, and it changes our worksheet, but as we scroll, we can see that we have the average formula here, the sum formula here, and so it changes it to this format. I don't know why it changes it to this big format, but that's what Excel does. And then it shows all of these decimal points all the way out. So instead of the way it was. Now you may have to do this on your exam, and it will say something like display all formulas and then undo display all formulas. And you undo that by just unclicking show formulas, and your worksheet goes back to the way it was. Next to the last thing is configure the UVU image to be exactly 3 inches by 4.77 inches. So go ahead and click on the UVU logo or picture icon right there. And now it comes up as picture format. And it wants us to format this picture. So it's exactly 3 inches by 4.77 inches. And we can go over here to height to the far right. And we can type in 3. And we can type in 4.77. Okay. And we want 4.77, and we may have to go down here and unclick lock aspect ratio because we want it to be 3 and 4.77. Okay. And now we can click out of there, click enter, and that gives us, if we had lock aspect ratio, when we change one, it automatically changes the other according to the ratio. So in this case, we had to uncheck lock aspect ratio. And the last thing on this worksheet is change the options on the worksheet so that the grid lines are hidden. So we have all the grid lines here, and maybe we want to present the worksheet without all the grid lines. So to do that, to go ahead and click on View, and one of our buttons here, right here in the front, is Show Grid Lines or Headers or Formula Bar. We're just going to uncheck View Grid Lines. And now you can see that all the grid lines are gone, and so it gives us a nice clean look. If that's what we're going for. All right, we're done with practice exam number 4. If you need help and you're not yet comfortable, go through the practice exams 1 through 4 again, or go through any of the others. The next time you go through them, I would go through them without trying to use the videos to make sure you're comfortable with them, and only use the videos if you need it. For those of you in Management 1400, go ahead and save this file, then upload it with your other practice exam 4 file. You can upload both files into the assignment deliverables page, the file upload page. Those of you that are working with just MOS 200, thank you for joining us.